contribute in some ways from my perspective. In my work, I'm working from moving all our legacy for cloud native ecosystem and moving our old microservice architecture using a Spring Boot to something light that we can deploy and we can optimize for the needs of the organization. So I think this is maybe the best option to adopt if we want to keep in the Java ecosystem and participate actively in a community. Also, the Latin America side is what exciting. The meetings and I was in the Mexico one, the first one I was in the Java Conf in Chicago, and then this weekend was in Lima, and seeing that movement going around from Europe and from America is also the other reason that I think motivates everybody to be part of this community.
Because the knowledge is being shared.
So basically that's it.
Yeah. So Emerson, this is fantastic. So yeah. To recap, and I realized that I was not recording. I tried to record, but it didn't take the first time. So finally it took. So I think we got your feedback onto why are you here. So you're saying that there is a breach, you found a breach between Microprofile, that many of us work in that project and also collaborate in Jakarta EE. So it was easier for you to be also here because you feel welcomed and motivated because different communities are sharing the knowledge and coming together to say, you know, this technology matters, not only Jakarta EE, but Java as a whole, right? Like moved by Java 25. I think the overall, all the communities are very, very active, more so than last year, because we're celebrating the anniversary of Java, that is 25. So I think we're the lucky ones to get to see this moment. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So if you were welcomed, so Emerson, that means, let's see, there is a PR. Can we go up? I think we missed something here. There is a PR that is here, the welcoming requests. Okay, there. Let me see. Hold on, because
which one point?
I think it's the Jakarta EE9 contributor members. Can you click number 1? The here, yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. I think I have that one already somewhere, but okay, let me try.
That one. So then if you are sending issues and helping with reviews, it's likely that your name will come up once we have. Okay. It's not that one. There we go. This one. Go down. Okay. Yes. This one is
the card. Okay.
So the goal of this PR, and this is so important.
Any specific thing you want to say?
Yeah, Emerson. The thing is that that PR welcomes individuals like you, Emerson. They have not committed status to be highlighted in a new card. Jakarta EE9 release 9 will have its own page, and the cards. We are working on this PR to say who should be in the PR. The conversation is currently being led and currently happening between 6-7 Jakartis. And what is fascinating is that we need more people like Marcus, more people that are independent to tell us who should be in these cards. Ed, you have been very nice on this ticket, and you have said, the question was, Jakarta EE should be only the repos of Jakarta EE, especially the specifications that have made the PRs that are listed every Friday on the inventory, should be gathering the information. Others believe that all EE4J should be included, but EE4J includes like the glassfish. So the conversation goes into who should the Jakarta EE recognize? And the topic, I don't think it is delicate. I just think it needs attention from everyone. And this is why I sent to the Jakarta EE Working Group Forum, and it has had a little bit more traction. There are only 22 people, last time I checked, they check or actually subscribe to this repo. So literally, we need more eyes. If you go down, right now, this one will go into 6 users. Emerson, if you click into the agenda again, and Ed, you can comment anything you want, because I think you do understand what I'm trying to say here. We just need to tackle what is the scope that is a threat. Yeah, click it, please. And thank you so much for sharing the minutes today.
So on that committer list, right, I think I'm perfectly happy with, my personal opinion is I'm perfectly happy with us soliciting or creating cards for anybody who wants, who is actually contributing to Jakarta EE or any of the implementations that go into producing the spec, right? So if people from Weld, for example, wanted to have their names appear on those cards, and there weren't, and I would imagine that there are some contributors there that are not members of Jakarta EE or even Eclipse Foundation, as long as there's some way to share their, whatever information needs to be shared, I don't have any objections to those things, right? I guess I don't, any Jakarta EE implementation seems to be going further than that to me, because, after the spec's done, I'm hoping that we'll have a lot of vendors who pick it up and actually do implementations, right? And, so the question is, well, does everybody, whoever does a Jakarta EE implementation belong on that list? And I guess I start to get a little less clear about my desire. It seems to me that an easy starting point for that list is everybody who's a member, who's got some kind of committer role in any of the EE4J projects, right? That's to me a great starting point. The fact that this list is created, is generated into, or it's actually picked up as a JSON object, that certainly means it's possible for someone to add, just manually add some people from an outside group, right? That's conceivable, right? I just don't know about there's all this concern about distributing privacy and stuff like that. So, as long as we can get past all that, I think as long as they're helping push Jakarta EE forward, hey, they should be counted as a contributor in my book. I'm not saying I'm speaking for any majority or anything.
Oh, and Emerson, and Ed, you did say it in the PR, which is great. Emerson, you are showing fantastic. You are showing the code that went behind this. The capabilities are fantastic. We just need to choose. Either it can be Git, it can be Pages, it can be, one of the things that I think it cannot be is like forum emails. That is too hard because we don't have access to that. But there are so many ways to contribute to the committed starter. But this one in specific is only focused on Jakarta EE9 work. It's very focused on that. And I know it was discussed last week on the community call that who should be a part of this. Currently, we thought, Glassfish like work should be not, but then if the work makes it into Jakarta EE9, because it will make it to Jakarta EE9, that repo should be added. And that is where the conversation is at. In Ed, I get it. We should have something that welcomes anyone, anywhere to like contributors as a whole. But this one is only dedicated to Jakarta EE9 work. For instance, if Emerson is there and has contributed an issue, his name will come up because it's automatically added via the tool that is used to known contributions, right? So Daniel, we know Daniel is from South Java, Brazil, and he is not a committer, he's a contributor. And, oh yeah, go ahead, Cesar. So he's a contributor. So then the question goes now, how do we close the gap?
So just clarifying. So anybody who does something at GitHub is where this list is created from?
Yes.
Because there are contributors who might not do anything at GitHub.
Yes.
It seems unlikely, but it's possible.
Yes, and that is where we are. We can, the PR in the code can welcome different mediums onto to make sure that most contributors are tracked and added automatically. Everything is automatic. I think it will be impossible for us to expect someone to be owning the individual updates of contributors. That is not scalable, right? Though the idea is great, Ed, that is not scalable. So we need to decide what mediums should be added here. That's the next step. Andrea is ready to execute with Ryan, but they need that data. They started with Git, and this is what we have thus far. The numbers will rotate in 6, and they will match everyone, and that is currently listed under the GitHub for Jakarta EE. Do we have like ideas on how to focus this? So we keep it there, or we add other mediums relevant? For instance, we have Hassan that works in EE, EGB, and we have Sharad, and we have many members that joined the TCK. They are mostly interested in working on the TCK, right? So will they make it to this list as well? Because it's part of Jakarta EE9. In how do we trace their work? What repo should we add? That's the question that we have right now. And this is like brainstorming right now.
Yep. Seems pretty cool. I couldn't see where is the functionality that is collecting the information and putting the cards, but it seems pretty nice.
Emerson, if you click, you were in the working group thread, and if you click there, the code shows you how this was developed. If you click on number 1, there, here, this says committer, go to the code. And you see right now.
I'm trying to see the main logic is in the index GS. Yes.
And you see there is a list, the import. We need more import items. Currently, I think we only have the ones you see, and we are waiting to know where do we continue to track the contributors, right? Because it will include you, Emerson. You are working, you're reviewing. If you're doing any of the work, you will be one of the ones listed as a contributor to Jakarta EE9, which is so cool. How do you feel about it?
Nice, yes, very nice. Okay, my question is that committer list JSON is being populated from the GitHub itself, or is something we're gonna feed with pull requests? So this particular file that is the one is...
This is populated by GitHub, I believe.
Yes, Jenny is correct.
Oh, okay.
Because
I think Amelia referred to that and said that we don't want to maintain that ourselves because there is no way we can do that. If and especially if we want the community to increase, we won't be scaling if we have to update that ourselves.
So there is a background process feeding the file, or how do you handle in the back end?
At the moment, I don't know how Andrew implemented that, but I imagine that we would do that in an async manner because there are some rate limiting applied to GitHub, and therefore I'm not sure that we can do that. And also, it would be very, very expensive to do on the fly every time. So I suspect we're going to be feeding that into an async process.
Yes,
I need to double check that.
So somebody, for example, could create a CDI job that on some calendar goes off and pulls these locations, whatever they are, and then pulls that, updates that data and creates this file, and then it's the file that gets read dynamically, right?
Yes, it's like an inventory in the area, Ed, when you see imports, that is if it's not scalable, it shouldn't exist. So we're using Git. and you're correct, there are many other ways to contribute to Jakarta EE online, because we have the forum and we have people solving problems that are not in the Git or do not make the PRs. However, currently that is not scalable. That would be impossible for anyone to track that contribution. So the recommendation that we have is to use Git in PRs and issues. So if anyone is currently active helping Jakarta EE9, they will be listed.
Is there an upper limit to the size of this file?
Nope.
For the, I mean, does it, will it slow down the responsiveness? Because I don't want, you know, let's say we, you know, we're approaching, you know, 1,000, maybe 2,000 entries in that file. Would that slow down the responsiveness of the card?
I don't believe so, but Ed, that is a great question. Let's send it to the PR.
I think we would still have like some loading on the fly, like the infinite loading. Every time you start scrolling and you get close to the end of the page, we're gonna be loading the next page. If I may.
We don't want that.
Because you're right. If we get like a big file, it might be very expensive to load everything. So we'll need to be smart on this one.
So I guess all I'm suggesting is we have Jenkins jobs. Those jobs can pretty much do anything we want to program them to do, and they could go out and pull surveys of, you know, various source locations, right? And then they could construct that into a consolidated JSON file, and then that JSON file is somehow processed for rapid sort of use by this dynamic card list. I mean, perhaps that's more complicated than what we have here, but it's, all those things are possible. It's just, I don't know what you know, what the interest is from the implementers to actually go that far.
I say, based on the conversation, we can follow in the tickets and ask Andre, who is leading, connecting the dots of the feedback received via the tickets, to say, how can we improve it, and just make some suggestions. Usually, if we're clear with this, you know, the vision, Andre would be able to figure out what are the cons and pros that we need to consider, because this needs to be sustainable so that it gets expanded not only for Jakarta EE9, but hopefully across the entire Jakarta EE ecosystem, always thanking and acknowledging contributors, right? Contributors include committers on my mind, right? So Ed, you're welcome to, you are already one of the contributors of the PR. Jean-Louis, you have really good ideas on how not to make it debt maintainable code. So please, Emerson, Cesar, just if you have any ideas on how to include and not leave people behind, that would be great. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a great start, because no one should be allowed to choose who they think is worth it, invaluable for helping Jakarta EE9. Everyone is worth it. Is worth it. If they are here and is investing their time, we need to appreciate that those actions. Oh wow, you're still showing code. In Emerson, if you want to contribute code, you can also. I mean, seriously, all of this is.
Yeah, just taking a look at the pull request and seeing the logic and trying to understand the end-to-end process, but that's pretty nice, like I said before. Okay. Going back to the agenda, we still have like 15 minutes. We already covered 1, 2, and 3. I think this is the next point. We want to see about inviting participants, members to the still private commits calls.
Yes, and this is already happening.
Yeah.
This is already happening. I think Jakarta EE already had a Jakarta steering call twice, half an hour at one conference and another one just for Q&A, and that was really nice. Oh. And I believe that the steering committee, no, the specification committee, if I'm not wrong, has opened up to invite strategic members working on different APIs already. Is that correct? So then little by little, you know, communication matters, because if we don't communicate, everything is delayed, right? And there is too much information in the forums for everyone to catch up and know exactly what is happening in Jakarta EE9. So that is the issue. We need the people in the room so they are able to execute and do so faster than just waiting and being lost. So the 4 point is lowering the bar to entry so that those doing can execute faster. And it's happening. It's slowly, but it's happening. Yep. I think, okay. Yeah, and I think we go to the collateral repo. Cesar, do you want to give the status on that one? We're so excited. I'm so excited with this one. So excited.
Yeah. So basically, the repo is up. We have been we're currently working on a couple of PRs. There were some import of issues also, and that's why you see a 29 at this point. That we will eventually review and provide feedback. Personally speaking, I need to work on the GitHub LFS. Now that many of us are committers on that repo, I have that test pending that is related with one of the PRs. So we embrace the community to check out the README file. The README file has, at this point, if you go to the, yeah, that's right, thank you. It has a description about this, what this repository is all about, and it's basically to embrace collaboration in all these forms that you see here: tutorials, blogs, ebooks, videos, workshops, translation, podcast. So anyone is welcome to contribute. We have been actively working in the contributing document that basically state the prerequisites that also allow you to start right away if this is the first time you are joining Jakarta EE related talk. If you want to contribute to any of the projects that we have discussed over over this call, you need to first, have your Eclipse account, signed the ECA or Eclipse Contribution Agreement, as we call it. And with that, we also provide reference to how to sign a PR. And this is not just for this repository. This actually applies for all the rest of the repositories within the Jakarta EE ecosystem. So I think that's something that you may find useful if this is the first time you are seeing this. And then we have the guidelines. This is a work in progress also about how you can start contribute with video and image content. Eventually, we will increase the number of guidelines. But this is the place for you to open an issue if you have an idea, and then eventually create a PR. I don't promote the fact of just creating a PR and sending it over, because at that point maybe you are working on something that is already a work in progress. So make sure to check out the current issues if you want to contribute to something that you may find interesting. And if the conversation is not in any of these issues, please feel free to open a new issue, and you're more than welcome to review PRs, comment on the issues, and keep the contribution going, and vote also for one of these issues or any other PR for that will allow us as a committer also to bring more focus on what the community is requesting more, or what they think as a community we should be focused our effort. So yeah, that's pretty much the repository status at the moment. A lot of work ahead. So a lot of help needed from the community. And yeah, that's basically the status I have for the repository.
Mm-hmm. And Cesar, you said we a lot. So when you say we, do you refer to this marketing committee will be the one that will be responsible of, owning this repo, I understand that the committee, every member listed has been converted into a committer so that they can, each single member as a team can work on processing the tickets and the PRs. But my question is this a way for those that are non-coders to, in the future, become committers of Jakarta EE? Currently, Jakarta EE doesn't recognize contributions that are non-code. And to me, this is such an important step for the ecosystem itself, because non-code contributors are as valuable as developers.
Yeah, so there are many topics in your questions. Being the first one, yes, the marketing working group members are committers in this repository, but that doesn't mean that we are the only ones that are going to be always the committers, right? We actually embrace the community to join, to start contributing, and eventually have nomination for having more committers, right? So that's I think that's really important. And also when you mentioned that the PRs and the issues are marketing committee responsibilities, I will say is a shared responsibility also from the community point of view, because as I stated previously, we encourage and we invite the community to go in the PRs, review the PRs, provide their feedback, and create PRs and issues and review issues. So it's not just as with any other open source project, it's the community who will embrace and will dictate and provide directions on where this repository will evolve. And we have all the support and all the infra from Eclipse Foundation that has been great to allow us to have this space for creativity that, as you're correct, as you mentioned, is not directly involved with coding, right? Many of the examples that are on the README file in terms of contribution, maybe not so code related oriented, for example, creating a podcast or creating an article or creating a workshop content. That requires different skills, and obviously infographics, as we already have one of the PRs there, are also something that designers and that made or not code as well are eager to contribute to. And the last part, when I think when you were saying that it's a space for non-coders, yes, that's basically it, right? We embrace the community to join, contribute, and have that place for also start this mentoring. Is the first time you are interacting with these tool sets like GitHub and starting to get into the context of what's going on with Jakarta EE. So I don't know if that answered your questions, but that's how we like to describe the repository, right? A place for enabling collaboration that may or not may involve directly code.
Mm-hmm. Cesar, I think the feedback in the insight you provided is very, very detailed. My follow-up question is there a plan, because everything is being set up, but is there a plan to send a note to the working group forum saying this is a new repo? The repo has not been introduced, but it has been into effect for almost 2 months. So, as things are getting completed, is there a plan to not do a major splash, but to use the working group forum to bring visibility to those ones that are subscribed to that mailing list, to say this is happening, and just and this is a question for everyone here. Will that be valuable if you were not in this call? Like Emerson, did you know about this repo? And if you didn't know about the repo, you're a developer, but I know that you are also interested in the branding side. Communicating is important because you do that in microprofile, and you're amazing. You contribute in code, non-code. So what do you think? Should we be improving on this? Because it has not been introduced to the community, and we don't have a marketing public Jakarta mailing list. So my recommendation is to use the working group forum and submit it. But I wonder what others think of how we can improve the communication on this, because it's so important. Please call out for a totally different level of contributors.
Yeah, I think maybe involving the different channels available. I don't have the sensation that Jakarta EE has the same kind of activity I following in micro profile. Most of the things I get aware in micro profile as from the Twitter account. I wonder if that can be a good channel. And remembering the discussion yesterday about the Slack adoption from my profile or no, I know Jakarta is kind of active in the Slack channel, so maybe using those channels and including this particular comment of about the existence of this repository can have a wider promotion or raise more people to be aware. I didn't know about this just 10 minutes ago. So I think that is those can be the strategies to communicate and get to the people.
So then, Emerson, because you have an idea, you want the media to be pushing this, like we have in Microprofile and in other projects, to say, this is available to you. If you have that idea, please submit a Git issue and send the first one to say, you know, the repo should be added to the Twitter media and pushed maybe once a month. This is why the repo has been created, to enable us to do better, to improve, and to see, and to add things that, you know, to bring the ideas from anyone in the community, things that you would like to see. And I think you have a point. It should be pushed, and maybe Twitter will be great. I don't use a Slack. I'm a minus one on that, but others do. So do you see what I mean? Cater to different people that are not yet in the community. I believe that one of the issues is that we need to step out and zoom out and reach those that have yet to know that Jakarta EE is the rebranding of Java EE. We need to connect with the university students. They have no idea about open source, and they're still uneducated, not because they are not looking, but it's because other things come into place. How do we attract and say, you don't have to spend 1 week reading to just feel valuable? Since the moment you join, you will be valuable because you're here. That's the first step, right? So that's my philosophy on this that really excites me, this new feature for Jakarta EE. All the comments here. We have 2 minutes to go. We will end on time. Let's do this.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, I agree that we need to promote more, not just the repo, but actually all John Lee just mentioned. You know, there is a lot of hands needed on the spec side of the fence also, and I recall that on the call, on the last Jakarta EE update call, we chatted about this repository too. And for those who are gonna be seeing this video, we invite you to also join and help us, because, you know, as you saw there are more than 8 different ways to contribute, and we currently just have 2 guidelines related with that particular content, and more work is needed, more hands are needed to review and propose. So yeah, we invited again, and yeah, I also think that, you know, promoting these and other repositories and specific projects, like in the case of the specification projects, it's something valuable that we will take to as an invitation in the different channels that we already have, right? So good call.
Yep, Emerson, really good call. Do submit the issue to the collateral and say, things like this need to be make it to the Twitter, the main Twitter, Jakarta EE Twitter, and be pushed. And just, the idea is great. I mean, we are doing it. I know you get a lot of information from Microprofile. We make it so simple. Just tweet, add the links, enable. Maybe that will help reach out people. Yeah, we need to go. So most of you need to go to the steering call that is happening at 9 in the morning PDT time. Emerson, thank you so much for being the facilitator of the agenda today. You're wonderful. Look at this. You arrived and you have a job to do. Yeah. So to finish the job that you agreed to do, like you volunteer, not push to be volunteer, is it possible for you using the Jakarta working group mailing list to send a copy paste of the minutes with the link of minutes and just say the date and the subject, you know, Friends of Jakarta, call the date, and then copy paste the discussion and then add the link and move forward. Can you do that, or do you want us to do it?
I can do that.
Perfect. Okay. We have next month. Please, everyone, be safe. Thank you so much for the 1 hour. It's 7 hours we have dedicated to this call. If we connect with all. Thanks, everyone. Have fun in the next calls and see you next month with help. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.